How's it going, guys? And welcome to the showdown between the vampire counts led by GHORST and the High Elves, who are going to be led by a princess on a big angry dragon. So guys, let's jump right into this match and have some fun. So the first thing in my army I want to point out are the double black coaches. So as much of a meme as the black coaches are, I still think they're actually pretty good against the High Elves. So there are a number of High Elf units like the Phoenix Guard over here who do have very good physical resist values. So these guys not only do magic damage, but they also have really good armor piercing and an anti-infantry bonus of I think 15 or 20. Yeah, it looks like it's 20. So I think this is a matchup in which the black coaches might actually be a bit of a niche. On top of that, I do have two groups of the Grave Guard with great weapons. They're actually pretty good. They did get a buff in Mortal Empires. They have 40 weapon strength, which when you compare that to their kind of equivocal unit over here, the White Lions have 34. They have 40 weapon strength and also do have a bonus for infantry of 8, so definitely not bad at all. The one thing they do kind of lack in, though, is their melee attack and melee defense compared to regular great weapon units is a little bit low. They would obviously get dumpstered pretty hard by the Swordmasters of Hoeth over here. But, with the support of Invocation of Nehek and the Mortis engine over here, they should do pretty well for me. In the middle, I do have the Stearnsmen, and these guys are basically like the anchor of the Vampire Count's army. So with a really good defensive stats, 56 melee defense, and they also do regenerate on their own, I really like to put these guys in the center and just have them kind of hold it down. On top of that, guys, it's time for President Al Gorst. He's beaten Al Gorbel in the election. And there's not much to say about him. I mean, I'm trying right now to think of like constructive, strengths he has. But, he does have the ability to summon Graveguard, which isn't bad. Although I honestly think that zombie summons are better because you can do them more frequently. He does have this ability here, the Reliquary Corruption, so it's basically like a Mortis Engine effect. So I basically have two Mortis Engines right now, which might be a little bit of overkill, but I figured, when I was going into this game, one of these two units was going to get just like die horribly. So I was like, all right, well, at least I'll have one Mortis Engine. In the back, some Skeleton Spears. I got the Dire Pack as well as some Blood Knights to deal with Cav. And if you're going to be going double black coach, which I don't know if I recommend it, but if you do end up using a black coach or any type of chariot unit, you definitely want to have some cav support. Because if you had like dragon princes or even a dragon kind of pinning these guys, you want the blood knights and other troops to be able to support. So for my opponent, he does have a princess atop a sun dragon, I think. Aside from that, he does have a couple groups of Phoenix Guard, which are really good. Basically just a Swiss Army knife against the vampire counts. They have anti-large, armor piercing, extremely durable with their physical resist. But the magic damage from the Mortis engine, as well as Al Gorst over here, is definitely going to be very good. Couple groups of White Lions, some Swordmasters of Hoeth to cut through Graveguard. And it looks like in the back he does have some regular archers. I definitely would recommend the Lothran Sea Guard in this matchup. With their anti-large bonus, they can deal with Crypt Horrors. If, enemy cav are able to get in the back line, they're going to be very durable. But 3 archers, he has a mage with high magic, and as far as his spells go, it looks like he does have a Fiery Convocation, Arcane, and Forging. So he pretty much has all of these spells except the Hand of Glory. And then last but not least, he does have the Book of Hoeth, which is going to augment his magic. So guys, without further ado, let's get this double black coach Al Gorst game on the road. So one of my biggest critiques about Al Gorst is he's really slow. He only has 23 movement speed, so if you pace your army with him, you're basically just going to be waddling at your opponent. So as I got a little bit closer, I was like, all right, I've had enough of this. It's time to just send my troops forward, and Al Gorst can catch up when he wants to. And you can see his zombies are just getting arrows in the head. Like the cart is just filled with arrows, which is so hilarious. But you know what? He's trying his best. He's waddling forward. He's got his zombies carrying him. And I was just extremely grateful. I felt like my opponent wasn't like paying attention to him. Like if he had used like a straight dragon breath, Gorst doesn't really have the speed to get away. But maybe he thought maybe he thought Gorst was a little bit faster than he was. But you can see right now I'm just trying to side strafe. I was like, please don't breathe fire. Please don't breathe fire. Because it would basically like one-shot him. Because he is weak to fire damage. He takes like an additional 20%. So it's pretty rough. So in the front here, I'm going to be sending in my Necromancer. And he's going to be summoning some zombies on top of these archers. Another tip, guys, whenever you're playing an archer faction, try and spread them out. So have them in tighter boxes. When they're in this long formation like this, they can't actually reposition as quickly. So firstly, spread them out against the vampires and then make them in a little bit of a tighter box. So in the front, the Graveguard are going to collide with the White Lions right here. You can see the Mortis engine getting in there and kind of trolling these guys, but the battle's underway. Excuse me. And the Stearnsmen should do pretty well kind of holding the line. They're not going to win this battle. Swordmasters and all these troops are going to smash them pretty hard, but the mighty black coach is here, guys, and you can see it just riding through. Look at this thing just cleaving these guys, just doing some serious work. So looks like it has 6 kills already, which isn't bad. Another black coach is going to be kind of in the pit of the fight, but it is taking a lot of damage from these Phoenix Guard. But man, the black coaches are a force to be reckoned with. In the back, I have gotten my Direwolves back here, and they're going to be feasting on some of these very squishy archers, so definitely not good for my opponent. As far as the Blood Knights, I'm just kind of using them defensively, but there, you can see my opponent did 1 breath attack on Helman Gorst, or Al Gorst, and pretty much took me down to half health. So I was expecting a bit of a charge from the dragon, so I was just parking these Blood Knights right here, and you can see a very nice Fiery Convocation going to be coming down and just roasting my line, definitely doing some pretty good work. But it just kind of clipped the back of the Graveguard, and I noticed it doesn't do the best damage against heavily armored troops. So it's better against like fodder and skeletons and things like that. So right here, the Mortis engine is kind of taking these guys. You can see Helman Gorst is going to be coming in here, and I wonder if their Mortis engine effects actually stack. Anyways, in the back, the direwolf's still doing a lot of good work hunting down these archers. My opponent has stabilized a little bit in the back line. He was using his high magic on the chariot to kind of help out. Granted, chariots aren't terribly good at like killing hound type units, but still it's helping. I do have some zombies back here, but the Blood Knights have gotten into the cookie jar, guys. So the balance of power is starting to tilt to my favor. It's definitely going pretty well. And the Blood Knights are going to hunt down the chariot, but unfortunately this black coach is in some trouble, guys. So the Blood Knights coming to the rescue of their MVP right here, and they're going to try and pin these guys down, but the more important thing was getting rid of this chariot. High magic is pretty strong. Apotheosis is really good healing for the princess. It needed to be dealt with pretty efficiently there. So the Graveguard with Grey Weapons actually not doing terrible. 23 kills, most of which are against the Graveguard here. I do also have this Mortis Engine, which is going to circumvent the physical resist of these guys. And the mighty GHORST, look at him going. Yes, yes, my lord. Go forth and prosper. So he's going to be just kind of riding around on his pimp cart. And man, he is... he is the new meme. Like, the Black Coach was the meme, and I feel like GHORST should be the new one. He's just... oh man, he's so junky. But this battle was actually on stream, and everyone was demanding the GHORST, so I did my best. But guys, the Black Coach is actually terror routing the Swordmasters of Hoeth and a bunch of these other troops. So you can see the High Elf line right here is going to be buckling, which is definitely pretty good. My Black Coach here is in really good shape. The other one, I think, might have died, but I'm not sure. But in the back, it's going very well. The Necromancers and the Direwolves are kind of just chasing these guys down. You can see I do have a group of zombies just going to be screening out these archers. So, oh no, another breath attack going there, which is, does a ton of damage against my Necromancer. At least 500 or 600 damage. He's going to be very low. And the Princess definitely can just kind of poke him with arrows, and that'll probably lead to him crumbling. So I'm really, the one thing I was really surprised about at this point in the battle, I was like, how is GHORST still alive? Like, how is this possible? I feel like he should have just been like chasing me with the dragon the whole time and just going after him just super hard, because again, GHORST can't run. He's slow, he's a big target, he's really clunky, and like his defensive stats are just pitiful. I mean, he does have okay melee defense actually, but his armor and just everything else, he's basically just a sitting duck. So the Mortis Engine here is just kind of perpetually draining these guys down, and the Graveguard with the Grey Weapons is actually performing really well. I definitely think they're the way to go in this matchup, because again, you have two options as the vampire counts for AP. I mean, you have a bunch of options, but in terms of like anti-infantry options, you have the Graveguard with Grey Weapons and Cryptors. I mean, you can use Vargulfs and other things like that, but in this matchup, I think these guys are the way to go. They're not going to suffer from the anti-large bonus. They're a little bit more durable against the High Elf Archers with their 90 armor, as opposed to Cryptors, and I think they're a very safe pick. So you can see here, these guys are being sent flying by the Blood Knights. Man, these guys look so cool, but they get a really nice charge, and they don't have the best AP, but against Swordmasters of Hoeth, who are super tattered, they should do just fine. So my Necromancer here is very low, guys. You can see I'm very far ahead in the balance of power, but there's still a massive angry dragon up in the sky. He has some archers and some troops over here, but the Black Coach is on a conquest to conquer this new world, and it's going to be chasing down these archers here. So hopefully it's able to catch it. But President GHORST is in a little bit of a bad situation right now. You can see that he does get the Arcane Unforging, and down he goes. He's just such a haggard death. He just tumbles and among the corpses of these Phoenix Guard over here. But yeah, he's not the best, guys. I mean, as much fun as it is using him, I really can't think of a matchup in which I would ever bring him in a serious sense. But President GHORST put up a pretty good fight, but ultimately he did lose the election to this princess over here. But over here on the far side, we do have the Black Coach, who's going to be kind of chasing these guys down, and it has 62 kills, which is really good against High Elves. It's hard to keep up with, for sure, if you don't have Cav, and I don't think he brought Dragon Princes. He went for a very tanky, kind of sturdy build there. And the Black Coach should be able to tear out these Swordmasters of Hoeth, who are already pretty poor in leadership and also very low in HP, but the archers are back online. So I need to get up and around and finish off those archers. And without President GHORST, I was starting to get a little bit stressed. I still did have these Blood Knights who were able to fend off this high magic right here. And the whole battle, he was actually casting Arcane Unforging on me, which was making it so I couldn't cast all of my spells. So definitely very well played to my opponent there. So we'll go ahead and fast forward a little bit. Just a bit of chasing and kind of a cat and mouse right here. So the Mortis Engine's going to charge in there and definitely going to just mess up those Swordmasters of Hoeth. Then I'm just going to get into the chicken coop right here, and I do have these hounds coming around the back. And yeah, that's going to be it for those archers for sure. And the bounce power is still heavily in my favor. But again, as soon as this princess lands, if it's able to kill this Mortis Engine, I'm pretty sure it could beat everything else I had. I do have a couple Blood Knights, I guess. So the Blood Knights, if they get a good surround on the princess, should be able to do some good work. But still, 520 weapon strength with really good melee stats, it's going to be tough. So I'll go ahead and fast forward again here. You can see the Blood Knights coming back, and my opponent does have some troops rallying. He has some archers, which was definitely tough, and 13 Phoenix Guard, which isn't much. I should be able to polish him off with the Sternsman. And he does land and actually gets a really good charge on my Claw of Nagash here, which is now crumbling. And the Blood Knights are going to be swarming in here, trying to pin down this princess and do the best they can. She has about 4.5 HP, but she's actually taking a lot of damage. So I figured the Mortis Engine was going to die anyway, so I was like, all right, let's start cycle charging with it. So what you do is you charge in, your opponent focuses aggro on it, then you just turn around and run away. But unfortunately, the dragon had such good mass, he was able to push through before I was able to get back. So looks like the Claw of Nagash with its negative leadership is probably going to die to this princess. You guys see the balance of power is actually starting to go a little bit in my opponent's favor, but you can see these Sternsmen over here are able to finish off these Phoenix Guard. Man, Sternsmen are such a good unit. Very, very tanky. But the Princess is actually surrounded. The Blood Knights are doing a really, really amazing job with their good anti-large bonus, and, they're just, poking this Princess down. She has about 3k HP. Call up Nagashka. There it goes. It just croaks. I love how that one, Banshee just, it was a super frigid and stiff. It just, flew off the side here. So, despite the balance of power, a very, very close battle. If the Blood Knights were gone, he could just cycle charge me into oblivion, and I would have no chance. So the Blood Knights here, I still do have 19 models, and they're very tanky in their own right. 51 melee defense, and also, 110 armor. Princess obviously does have really good AP values, though, but she's starting to go down about 2.5k HP. But again, I did probably just lose a couple Blood Knights right there. Yeah, I'm down to 17 models, so a little bit scary, man. So we'll fast forward. It's a little bit grindy here, and you can see the Blood Knights just kind of chasing the Princess. So this was a bit of, a pretty big folly on my opponent. He tried to run from the Blood Knights to get a cycle charge, but honestly, he probably just should have just stayed and fought. And I think that was one of the big reasons why it went that way at the end. And a lot of times, guys, if there's a heavy cav unit and you're on a dragon type unit, they can kind of chase you even if you're faster and pin you down. So he probably should have stayed and just been rapidly, just aggressively clicking on those Blood Knights. He might have been able to kill and crumble them. And had he done that, he may have been able to clean up the Sternsmen and those other units. He might not have been able to. Again, it was pretty darn close. But yeah, it was a fun one. Hopefully you guys enjoyed seeing President Al GHORST in action. I think the Black Coaches is much of a, as I always say, they were just one of the most horrible units in the game and won, but they're really not bad against these guys, and I'm pretty sure they got some changes in Mortal Empires and 2. But they're not bad here. I don't think 2 is ever going to be necessary. I mean, I just did that as kind of a fan service, but I think one Black Coach might not be terrible to mix in with your army. Just have it in the front line. It's going to do good against White Lines, and Swordmasters can terror out them. It's, not terrible. So very well played to my opponent, Fedetonch, I guess. I don't even know how to say that, but I look forward to running into you again on ladder. And guys, hopefully you enjoyed Al GHORST, and we'll see you guys next time.